Welcome to Tiny Texas Living. Who says you can't live big while living tiny?
Last night was a tornado. We're okay. Not everyone in neighboring communities is, though, and it's really, really bad. Really scary stuff. Last night I had gone out earlier in the evening because we got a tornado watch, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go see what it looks like. Tornado watch is more common, so I went outside and the sky looked kind of like this. Okay, so this is what the sky looks like, which wouldn't be weird except for the fact that earlier it was like pitch black, and now it's this. The cats are still hanging out, so I would like to think that it's actually still okay, because normally they hide if it gets too bad. Look at them play, they're so cute. But yeah, it's getting to be kind of like this orangey color. I don't know that I love that, but at least it's not green. Green is scary. This is at least still like, ooh, lightning, sunset-like. So a little weird, but at the same time not so concerning. And as the radar continued moving, it looked like it was going to go over us. And so I kind of calmed down. I made some dinner, but I didn't like cook dinner. I just made something that was easier because I thought, well, when we get tornado watches, sometimes that means high winds and then we just lose power because it's Texas. But I sat down and I got almost finished with my dinner, and my phone just alerted me for a tornado warning, which is much, much scarier. And I looked at the tornado warning and it said one of the roads that is near me but not like right by me. And so I was like, this is close. So I went to my safe spot, and I say safe in quotes because realistically there's not really a super safe spot in a tornado when you live in a regular house. And currently we do not have a really good storm shelter, so that should be something to look into. But as I went to my safe spot, I took my laptop with me and I had my phone, and I called my parents, which are on the property just down from us, and I was watching Max Velocity, and Max Velocity is a really good weathercaster. He does an amazing job at what he does. And he was showing the storm, and it looked like it had a little hook on it. And that hook looked like it was just beyond where we are, like not in this direction, but rather in this direction, which means that it kind of passed. And I started scrolling Facebook, looking for people saying anything about, hey, do you know what's going on? And somebody said that they thought it touched down in a neighboring town, which is not far from here. Not good, needless to say, really scary. But while I was sitting there talking to my dad about like, what do we do? I have a way that I can protect myself where I go into my room and I pull my bed over me, and that's at least giving me some protection. I heard him recommend on the broadcast, though, if you have a helmet, to put on the helmet. So I thought, oh, do I have my helmet? And I realized it was in my van. So I was like, okay, bike helmet's not going to help me, so I'm just going to have to make do. And then I got the second warning for this, and it was terrifying because I've never gotten a second warning. I've only gotten one warning usually, and this one said tornado warning critical. And in that moment, I have to say, I got super, super uncomfortable, nervous, scared a little bit. But at the same time, I was like, okay, it shows that the storm's past us. I don't understand. Like, it shows that it's past us. So I had like this internal debate going on. Long story short, at some point I was just like, if it's past us, why are we getting this warning? So I walked to the front of the house and I came outside, and there was no wind. I thought, okay, that's weird. But then there were some other things. The air smelt weird, like really weird, and I couldn't place why it smelt weird or what it smelt like exactly. So that was strange, and the air felt super, super, super muggy. And I could see in the distance the lightning, lots and lots of lightning. And as I was seeing the lightning, it started lighting up the sky, and I could see the clouds, and they were pushing in that direction, but they were not like here. So it had in fact passed us. That didn't mean it was done, though. Coming out in the yard this morning, there are several small branches like this, but nothing crazy, just basically some small branches. But we were very fortunate in that that's all that we had, because the community right next to us that we heard that it touched down in apparently was tossing like 1,700-pound round bales like they were nothing. It took a trailer and moved it, like a physical, like regular trailer, like a big horse trailer. It just like some other damage to some structures and things, not still as serious as it then turned, but I continued to monitor it through the various news outlets that I look at, and I even went on to X and started scrolling through the pictures people were posting. Mind you, this was at night, so really hard to see things at night. And the things that I was seeing were not great, and I was very fortunate that it did not have more here. The people who live literally like a mile up the road, said that they could hear the storm coming over their home, but it didn't touch down until right after that. So it was the closest call I've had. Not great. Not great. So needless to say, this morning I woke up and I was extremely tired because I was watching it until like 3. And some of the things I noticed were that after it left that small town that's next to us, it continued going. So I'm watching this like in my bed now. Do you see these 3 circles? These are 3 different sections of rotation in the same storm in Oklahoma. So he said that all 3 of these could drop at once, and if they do, it would be like moving in this direction as a mega storm. And going, and I was watching all this play out on radar just thinking, oh my gosh, it just keeps building and growing. And even the guy who does the weather, he was saying that that was an incredibly large, violent storm. And as reports started coming in last night, I could see just how violent it was. There was a mass casualty event at a truck stop / gas station. There was apparently homes that were along the path that they thought were like trailer houses, and they thought they would probably be gone, but again, it's dark, so you can't see any of it. There were several people who were recreating, because this is filmed right after, it's Memorial Day weekend right now. So people were out at the lake, and the tornado passed right over the lake. I'm usually those people. I'm usually those people, because I'm usually the person who's at the lake or at the campground or in my van. And so I think when I saw that, I started getting very nervous for people, because I know just how many times I have personally been on the road and been surprised by some really terrible storms. And it was late. It was nighttime. You couldn't see anything. And this is one of the busiest weekends. And it went right through Lake Ray Roberts area. From what I'm seeing, there are at least a couple marinas that it went through, and then also a few campgrounds. This is still early on the next day, so I'm sure it will continue to build on how much damage was done. There was one particular report where someone got stuck under their RV. Lots of RVs were tossed and turned and shredded, and it's just not good. And that just goes to show the power of storms, and the predictability of things is not always what they think they're going to be. In fact, most of the weather broadcasters had thought that the storms last night wouldn't be much. They were going to be severe thunderstorms, and life thought otherwise, and then it turned into a really bad storm. The time I'm filming this, currently there are 7 people in North Texas who have been accounted for as passed away, and that could grow. This morning it went from 5 to 7 because they found 2 children. One was 5, I think one was 2. So yeah, it's just kind of one of those things that no matter where you live, no matter what you're doing, no matter what style home you have, how you travel, storms don't care. They just don't. And they're the great equalizer. And last night was kind of nerve-wracking, to say the least, for me. And I was not even affected, but I can only imagine what those people are going through right now. So I wanted to share a few things in this video that I did, that you don't think about until you're like in a oh no position. Number 1, I learned that you should wear a helmet if you can, because that will protect your head. I never thought about that. Number 2, of course, is getting to a safe place on a lower level, away from windows, covering your body if you can. A lot of people say bathrooms. Get a bathtub, cover the top of the bathtub if you can. I would like to add to that, though. If you are having to seek shelter, fire off a text message to somebody to tell them where you are in your house. Because like last night, I was talking to my friend Riley and telling her kind of what was happening along the way. And she asked some very good questions about, like, how would people know where you were? Valid. So let somebody know where you are in your home, so that if something happens to your home, and for example, like the gas station who the roof collapsed, they'll know where to look for you so that they can help you faster. So there's that. Also, something else that I kind of figured out last night that I just personally decided was putting on regular shoes. I had the luxury of a few minutes before I thought something was going to hit, so I just immediately threw on some regular shoes, because if you are in a storm and then you have to crawl out and you're wearing no shoes, you're going to be out there barefoot up against all of the elements. So maybe if you have a safety closet, just keep a pair of shoes right there so you can just chunk them on after you get in the safety closet while you're locking yourself down into your bracing mode. Also, my bag. My bag with my ID. I have a sling bag. I just threw it on, got into my safety spot. I was wearing my full shoes. I had my full ID, and I know that sounds dumb, but like, if you don't have your bag with your stuff, like your ID, your social security card, your debit card, your money of any kind, and then something happens, how do you move on? Give yourself an advantage. This might sound dumb, but try to do the things. For people who are traveling, normally they say, oh, get off the road, get out of your car. And a lot of people think, oh, go to a gas station, go to some place that might have a storm shelter. And normally I would say yes too, because that's what I would be doing. But yesterday proved that even in the places that you find are safe, they're not always safe. So prepare yourself accordingly. If you're driving at night, make sure you have all notifications on your phone for the weather, because a lot of people drove straight into the storm and had no idea because they did not have notifications. It's been said to not go under underpasses if you're driving because that's actually more dangerous. Instead, find the lowest lying ditch and get out and cover your body. So do that. And if you are in an area that has been devastated by a tornado, you understand this all too well. It's not going to be a quick fix. So if you know someone who lives in one of those areas, check on them. Check on them quickly. Make sure they're okay. A lot of times now in today's world, we're very solo individuals. We're more isolated, and people don't necessarily always think to, ooh, maybe I should check on my friend. But please check on your friends if you know that they've been in an area, even if it seems silly. You never know. They could be in a really bad way and just nobody knows they're even there. Especially if they're like me, who travels. Like, again, let people know where you are. So yeah, last night was really not cool. And I know that my view of this is from a very, for lack of other words, privileged position, because I am still standing in my home and everything is okay here. But this is the reality these days. The storms are ramping up. They're getting scarier. And yeah, I have to say that in all the storms I've been through, this was probably one of the more scarier moments because we got that secondary warning. And so with that, be safe out there.